Hey, welcome to my channel, The Spread Offense. I'm Coach Besaw, and today's video, I'm going to talk to you about how I like to block power read against an odd front. I recently put out a video on how I block GT counter against an odd front and the two rules that I use within the blocking scheme. And I had a few coaches send me a message after that asking, hey, can you go over some power read stuff? So that's what I'm going to do today because I really like running power read, been doing it for a long time. And if you haven't gotten into power read yet, then now's the time because it's a great scheme that can really do a lot of great things for your offense. Before I get to the video, if you haven't been here before, I'm Coach Besaw. I pretty much cover anything related to the spread. So if that interests you, then hit subscribe below and then also tap the bell right next to it. That way you get notified next time I come out with a video on my channel. All right, let's get right into talking about power read against an odd front. All right, so we're going to start looking at blocking power read against the odd front here. 3-4 look, something that we actually don't get a whole lot where we're playing at, but some coaches may be getting this look here, tight front, 3-4. And you also may see some Chargers, some Okie look where they bring a linebacker who's a stand-up edge player. So it's really a four-man presence on the line of scrimmage. So I'm going to show you some of that look too and what I like to do against that. But I'm going to start here with this 3-4 look. And the blocking rules in an odd front for us in power read is going to be the same as one of the rules in GT counter, which is going to be ace and arc. So anytime we get an odd front and we're going power read, we are acing and arcing on the front side of this thing. So when it comes to blocking schemes and looking at rules and really also identifying kind of like as far as the scheme goes, which side do I like to run the ball? First thing I do is I draw my center line, which is that invisible line that goes down the center and that splits the box in half for me. And here I can really look at kind of where the numbers are, where the gaps are in space, which also helps in strategizing, scheming up where you want to run the football. So obviously in this look, 3-4 defense, the center line is divided here and the left side is equivalent to the right side. So obviously on the whiteboard, it looks good both ways. But when you get onto the field, you're going to have personnel that dictates that. The formation is going to dictate the strength or the weakness of the defense. Your own personnel of where you want to be able to run the ball to. So you got a lot of other things to consider when scheming up power read against maybe a 3-4 look as opposed to seeing it on the whiteboard here. But as far as blocking responsibilities and the rules that we use, the first one is going to be ace and arc. That's the only rule that we use when it comes to power read. So what that means is if we're going to be running power read here to the left, then the front side of the scheme against this odd look is going to be acing and arcing. And so to start with the arc block, that's going to be our play side tackle. So our left tackle here, he's going to arc, leave that 4-4-eye. Doesn't matter what he is, if he's a 5, if he's a 4 or 4-eye. He's going to be arcing to the outside. So if there's an overhang there for him who's mid-pointing the tackle here and the receiver, he's going to arc and pick up that outside back or that overhang. If he's on number 2, he's still going to arc to the outside. If there's rover or the outside backers head up onto, we still want our tackle to arc to the outside. He may end up in space, but at that point, we just want him looking for work and finding color. After the arc is where we ace. And so the ace block for us is in our gap schemes, and it means that our guard and center are going to double team together. And so the ace is going to be our left guard here, and our center double teaming that nose, and then they are going to block the first down lineman to the backside of the center line. And then on the back side of the scheme, we're going to be pulling a guard to get to the front side of the scheme. And so our right guard is going to skip pull for the front side linebacker, who is the first guy on the left side of the center line here. And then our tackle, we're going to have him step hinge into that B gap. We really want him to cut off any pressure that comes into the B gap. So he's responsible for that, making sure pressure goes around. And we're not allowing any interior pressure here that may disrupt our guard and pull or even into the backfield and disrupt the mesh point between the quarterback and the running back. Traditional here ways you can do it. Before that, if you want to package this play and throw some quick game on the perimeter to keep guys honest on the perimeter, you can, but we're just going to have everyone stock it as far as that goes. And then in the backfield here, there's a few different ways that I also like to do it in the backfield. The first one is just your regular power read that you see. Running back's going to be even with the quarterback. Snap the ball, he's going to run down his toes, and he's the option to go out for the sweep. Our quarterback is going to be ending up reading the one guy that we haven't blocked yet, which is going to be the end man on the line of scrimmage. So that's going to be him right here. So our quarterbacks get one shuffle. They receive the football from the center. They put the ball on the near foot to the back. That way it gets to the mesh point as soon as possible. He gets one shuffle to ride and decide and power read. And within that one shuffle, he's got to identify if this defensive end or the end man on the line of scrimmage, if he is out because he sees the running back cross the face of the quarterback and he thinks it's sweep, then he's going to rip that ball out and he's going to run it inside following his backside guard who's pulling for the frontside linebacker. If in that one shuffle, this tackle here, defensive end here, takes into the B gap, inside approach, sits in the hole, reduces the line of scrimmage at all where our quarterback feels like the running back has leverage on him, then he's going to give it, and our running back's going to carry that thing outside, and we're going to run sweep to the outside. So that's one way that I like to do that in the backfield. Another the way that I also like to get to power read is by switching those responsibilities. And by doing that, I would be putting the running back on the same side, and we would be going dive action like this. So our running back is now the one that's going to be running it inside, and then our quarterback is going to be the one on the outside for the option. So every once in a while, depending on how this guy is playing us, we will switch up those responsibilities and have a dive look between our quarterback and running back. The other option that I also like out of the backfield is making it a toss read. And so we're going to have this toss action because we've been successful with toss in the past. So we're going to make it look like toss. The quarterback's still going to read this defensive tackle and really try to influence that defensive tackle by getting into that stance where it really looks like he's going to be tossing it out. And so if that defensive end plays wide and thinks it's toss and it runs out with it, then he puts his foot in the ground and he's back inside the hole. Again, for power read with that backside guard leading the way there. So a few different ways in the backfield that I like to mix it up. That way it's not the same kind of look every single time I'm running power read. Also mixing it up by formations is really good too. Whether it's condensed set or 2x2s or 3x1s, there's several different ways that you can add options into the power read scheme to make it a pretty dynamic play. So that's how I like to block it against a 3-4 look. I'll show you kind of how we block it against defenses that we usually see and really how it doesn't change anything other than the direction in which we want to go in. So I'll draw up the same kind of look here. And then this is typically the look that we get. So we get more of this look here. And for us, when it comes to blocking power read, we always want to identify where this stand-up guy is and then where their adjuster is. Usually the adjuster is opposite sides of the stand-up, and for a variety of reasons. So as a coordinator, that's important for you to know as to how they adjust to your formations, where the stand-up guy is based on formation, where the adjuster is based on formation, also where you are on the field, whether it's boundary, middle of the field. You want to know exactly kind of where these guys are at, because for me, I don't like running power read to the stand-up. And the main reason why is because they are able to take both options away from us. So if we look at it here, if we were to go power read to the right, then within our rules, we would be having this tackle arc for the first color there. We're going to ace to there. We wrap for the pulse to the play side there. We step hinge, and we're reading this here. Well, based on the numbers that they have and the angles that they have, they're really able to take both options away from us. If this defensive tackle steps into the B gap and any type of stunt, which usually that's what happens because he's got a linebacker just outside of him, he's going to be taking this B gap, which will tell the quarterback to give it to the running back. And then trying to arc this block, if he's any good, he's not going to allow that that tackle to be able to get to his outside. He's going to keep his outside arm free, and he's able to contain that sweep. So by running it to the stand-up, obviously it's not good for our options because both of their defenders are right where they should be and taking those options away from us. So for us, I, as a coordinator, got to know where these guys are at on the field. And I do that through formations. And then also lastly, sometimes it doesn't work out that way, which is why we teach our kids if we happen to call it to where we're running into the stand-up, we want to check away from it. So at this point, if we had power read called to the right here, we would check out of it, and we would just simply adjust and go to the left. And so our rules stay the same. So we're going to ace and arc. So if we just keep it basic up front, we're going to stock everyone here up front. And again, on the front side of this, we're going to arc. So there we are on the arc. We're going to ace the nose to the mic. We're going to skip pull for the Will, who's the first linebacker, to the play side. We're going to do our best to step hinge on that thing and cut off that B gap as our tackle. And then different ways like I showed you, but there's basically day one install as far as running power read that way. So ace and arc against an odd front does really well for us, keeps it simple, really helps our kids identify who's doing what within the blocking responsibility. And then also by doing that allows our kids to play really fast. So I hope that video helps. If you're facing odd fronts and you're curious about running power read, some easy, simple rules to be able to live by to let your kids play fast. And if you're not running power read yet, I suggest that you start looking into it and get that into your playbook, because if you got athletes here in the backfield, it's pretty fun to watch when it's executed properly. So if you have any questions about it, let me know. Be happy to help you. I look forward to seeing you guys on the next one.